I never thought a single shove in the crowded hallway of Lincoln High would echo through my life like a gunshot. But there it was, James tumbling to the linoleum, his backpack spilling notebooks like spilled secrets, and the laughter ripping through the air like shrapnel. "Fairy boy thinks he can prance around like it's Broadway," snarled Tyler, the quarterback with fists like sledgehammers. And I, Christopher Hale, student body president and golden boy of Elmwood, Indiana, stood frozen, my smile a brittle mask as the crowd parted for me. In that split second, as James's green eyes met mine, pleading, broken, alive with a fire I secretly craved, I chose silence, and it sealed us both in a tomb of my own making. That hallway reeked of teenage sweat and cheap cologne, the kind that clung to Letterman jackets like regret. It was sophomore year for James, junior for me, in the fall of 2018, when Me Too was still buzzing on Twitter and kids like us navigated the minefield of who we were versus who we pretended to be. Elmwood was the epitome of heartland America, cornfields stretching to the horizon, Friday night lights under which dreams were born and buried, and a high school where conformity was the unspoken dress code. Lincoln High's mascot, the mighty Lynx, roared from banners in every corridor, but beneath it all simmered the real predators, the jocks, the cliques, the whispers that could strip you bare. I'd known James since freshman orientation. He was the new kid from Chicago, with that mop of unruly auburn hair and a laugh that cut through the awkward icebreakers like sunlight through fog. He quoted indie bands I'd never heard of, sketched fantastical murals in his notebooks, and had this way of tilting his head when he listened that made my stomach twist in ways I couldn't name back then. By junior year, those twists had names: attraction, fear, longing. But I was Christopher Hale, debate team captain, prom committee chair, the guy whose dad was the town mayor and whose mom baked pies for every church social. Coming out? That was for coastal elites in movies, not for a kid whose future hinged on acceptance letters to Ivy League schools and a legacy to uphold. The bullying started small, like embers. Notes slipped into his locker. "Go back to your rainbow parade." Locker room snickers after gym class, where Tyler and his crew mimicked lisps and limp wrists. James endured it with that quiet defiance, chin up, eyes down. But I saw the cracks, the way his shoulders slumped in the cafeteria, how he'd linger after art club, staring out windows at the flat Indiana sky. As student body president, I was supposed to be the fixer, the voice of unity. Our assemblies droned on about kindness campaigns and anti-bullying posters plastered like Band-Aids over bullet wounds. But when Tyler cornered James that day in the hall, I laughed along. Not loud, not cruel, just a chuckle, enough to signal allegiance. Enough to keep my throne. That night, I couldn't sleep. The Hale house was a colonial brick beauty on Maple Street, all white picket fence and porch swings, but it felt like a cage. Dad was in his study, poring over campaign notes for his re-election. Family values. Chris, that's the ticket. While Mom hummed hymns in the kitchen. I scrolled Instagram in the dark, landing on James's profile. A sketch of two figures silhouetted against a stormy sea, captioned, "Waves crash, but we stand." My thumb hovered over the like button, heart pounding like I'd been caught red-handed. Instead, I closed the app and punched my pillow, whispering to the shadows, "What the hell is wrong with you?" The next week, our paths collided in ways fate must have scripted with a twisted pen. It was homecoming prep, and as president, I was buried in float designs and Spirit Week schedules. James, ever the artist, had been roped into painting banners for the parade. We ended up alone in the art room after hours, the fluorescent lights buzzing like angry hornets, the scent of acrylics thick in the air. He was on a ladder, brush in hand, when I walked in with a stack of poster board. "Need a hand?" I asked, voice casual, like my pulse wasn't sprinting. He glanced down, surprise flickering in those eyes, emerald flecked with gold, like autumn leaves caught in sunlight. "Student body savior graces the peasants. To what do I owe the honor?" I winced at the edge in his tone, but climbed the ladder anyway, handing him supplies. Our fingers brushed, and electricity shot up my arm, raw and unfiltered. We worked in silence at first, the only sounds the scrape of brushes and the distant hum of the football field lights outside. Then he spoke, voice soft as the fading daylight. "Why'd you laugh yesterday?" "In the hall." The ladder creaked under me. I gripped the rung tighter. It was stupid. Heat of the moment. Tyler's an idiot. But you're not. He set his brush down, turning to face me fully. Up close, I could see the faint freckles across his nose, the way his lips quirked in that half-smile that hid so much hurt. You're the one who could stop it, Chris. One word from you, and it ends. Guilt clawed at my chest, sharp as barbed wire. It's not that simple. You know how it is here. One wrong move, and what? You're untouchable. His voice cracked, just a hair, and it undid me. He climbed down, standing too close now, the air between us charged like a storm about to break. I get it. Protect the image. But some of us don't have that luxury. I wanted to tell him then, about the dreams where I pulled him close instead of pushing him away, about the prayers I'd whisper in the dead of night for this ache to vanish. But words failed, as they always did. Instead, I reached out, my hand grazing his arm. James, I'm sorry. Really. He didn't pull away. For a heartbeat. The world narrowed to that touch. Warm skin under cotton sleeve, the faint scent of turpentine, and something uniquely him, like fresh rain on earth. Then the door banged open. Mrs. Hargrove, the art teacher, bustled in with forgotten keys. We sprang apart like guilty kids, but in that stolen moment, something shifted. A secret bloomed, fragile as a hothouse flower. From there, it snowballed. Stolen glances in the halls, notes passed in shared classes, mine scrawled with dumb jokes about debate puns, his with doodles of lynx and tutus. We'd meet in the old oak behind the bleachers after practice, talking for hours about everything and nothing. His mom's divorce that uprooted him from the city, my dad's pressure to be the perfect son, the bands we'd blast on hidden Spotify playlists. One evening, as fireflies danced in the dusk, he leaned against the trunk and said, "You ever feel like you're drowning in plain sight? Like everyone's watching, but no one's really seeing?" I nodded, throat tight. Every day. And then, because the words were there and the fear was fading, I added, especially around you. His eyes widened, then softened. He stepped closer, our breaths mingling in the cooling air. When our lips met, tentative, then urgent, it was like coming home to a place I'd never known existed. Soft, exploratory, tasting of cherry chapstick and unspoken promises. No fireworks, just a quiet unraveling. The world fading to the rustle of leaves and the steady beat of our hearts sinking like a shared rhythm. But secrets in a town like Elmwood are like gasoline. One spark, and they ignite. Tyler caught wind somehow. Maybe a stray tweet, a whispered rumor from the cheer squad. The bullying escalated. James's tires slashed on his beat-up Honda, graffiti on his locker. AIDS carrier. I overheard Tyler in the locker room. Hale's acting weird. Thinks he's slumming it with the queer kid. Laughter boomed, but it twisted in my gut. I confronted him after practice, shoving him against the fence. "Back off, Ty. It's not funny anymore." He shoved back, smirking. "Or what? Gonna cry to daddy? We all know what you're protecting, Prez." The threat hung there, a noose tightening. I played it cool, but inside, panic clawed. James pulled away after that, texts unanswered, eyes averted in the halls. "It's too much," he texted once, late at night. "I can't drag you down with me." I begged him to meet, but he ghosted, leaving me adrift in a sea of my own cowardice. Winter hit like a freight train, blanketing Elmwood in snow that muffled screams but amplified isolation. Prom loomed, a glittering guillotine of expectations. I was expected to escort Emily, the valedictorian with perfect curls and a future in D.C., but my mind was a whirlwind of James, his laugh echoing in empty classrooms, his touch a phantom on my skin. Dad cornered me one night over meatloaf. "Son, this moping? It's not you. Focus on the speech. Make us proud." Proud. The word tasted like ash. I drafted my anti-bullying address a dozen times, each version bolder, but doubt erased them all. What if they saw through me? What if the town turned? The breaking point came 2 weeks before prom. I found James in the bathroom, sleeves rolled up, wrists bandaged from shallow cuts. Not deep enough for R, but deep enough to scar my soul. He was pale, eyes hollow, leaning over the sink like a ghost. "James, God, what happened?" He jerked away, voice raw. "Doesn't matter. Just leave." "It does. Talk to me." I reached for him, but he flinched. "You laughed, Chris. That first time. And every time after, you let it happen. For what? Your crown. Tears streaked his face, mixing with sink water. I thought you saw me. But you're just like them. The accusation landed like a sucker punch. No, I was scared. Of losing everything. Of them hurting you more. But even as I said it, I heard the lie in it. The fear was mine, selfish and small. He laughed, bitter. Scared? Try living it. Every day, wondering if today's the day they go too far. And you? You're the king who watches from the balcony. I sank to the floor beside him, the tile cold through my jeans. I love you. I whispered, the words tumbling out like a confession in a confessional. That's why it hurts so much. He stilled, then crumpled, head on my shoulder. We sat there until the bell rang, two boys breaking and rebuilding in the fluorescent glare. But Tyler had eyes everywhere. That weekend, a video surfaced, anonymously posted to the school's Facebook group, grainy footage of us behind the oak, kissing under the street lamp. Captions screamed, Prez Hale's dirty little secret. Fag football. The town exploded. Dad's phone rang off the hook. Mom's Bible study group went silent when she entered rooms. At school, whispers turned to shouts. Emily dumped me via text. You're a liar, Chris. Tyler grinned from across the cafeteria, victorious. I faced the school board Monday morning, Dad's lawyer in tow, but the damage was done. Suspended as president, my Ivy dreams in tatters, whispers of expulsion hanging like storm clouds. James vanished. His mom pulled him for family reasons, locker cleaned out by noon. I drove to his house that night, snow pelting the windshield, heart hammering. The porch light was on, but when I knocked, it was his mom who answered, eyes red-rimmed. He's gone, Christopher. Back to Chicago. Said to tell you. He forgives you. But he can't stay. The door closed softly, leaving me in the blizzard, fists clenched against the cold. Betrayal? No, that was me. To him, to myself. The consequence I'd never imagined wasn't expulsion or scandal. It was the hollow echo of a love I'd half-lived, the realization that leadership meant nothing without courage. Weeks blurred into a gray haze after James left, Elmwood's winter unrelenting as the gossip mill that ground reputations to dust. I wandered the halls like a deposed king, crown of thorns now, avoiding Dad's disappointed sighs over breakfast, oatmeal congealing untouched, and Mom's forced cheer with her "everything happens for a reason" platitudes that rang hollow as a politician's promise. The school board let me stay, on probation, but my title was stripped, my speeches silenced. Tyler strutted like he'd won the Super Bowl, high fives echoing where my authority once reigned. And me? I replayed that video in my mind. Not the kiss, stolen and sweet, but the aftermath, the mob's digital pitchforks. It started with anonymous emails to the local paper. Lincoln High harbors predators in leadership. Then the protests, parents clutching signs outside the brick facade, demanding moral cleansing. Mayor Hale's re-election polls tanked overnight. Dad's face aged a decade in press conferences, defending his troubled son with gritted teeth. Family sticks together, he'd say to cameras. But at home, his eyes screamed questions I couldn't answer. How did I become this? Why him? I dove into damage control, volunteering at the local LGBTQ center in Lafayette, 40 miles away, far enough to breathe. There, amid rainbow flags and support groups, I met Riley, a college kid with tattoos and a no-bullshit vibe who saw through my polished facade. You didn't out yourself, kid, he said over lukewarm coffee one rainy afternoon. The world did it for you. Question is, what now? What now? I journaled furiously in stolen moments, pages filling with the unsaid, the way James's hand fit mine like a puzzle piece, the dreams where we ran to California beaches instead of cornfields, the guilt that choked me like weeds. One entry burned. I betrayed him to save myself. But salvation tastes like regret. Spring thawed the ground, but not my heart. Prom came and went. A ghost dance without me. Emily on some other guy's arm. Tyler crowned king in an irony so thick it choked. I heard fragments. James's name whispered like a curse, his empty desk a monument to my failure. Then, a postcard arrived. Postmarked Chicago, no return address. A sketch of the oak tree, our tree, with two figures etched in pencil, one reaching, the other fading. On the back, waves crash, but we remember. Jay? It cracked me open. I drove to the lake that night, the one bordering Elmwood's edge, water lapping like unanswered questions. Fireflies were just starting their ballet, and I sat on the dock, postcard clutched like a lifeline, tears hot on my cheeks. That's when the fight started, not with fists, but with the beast inside, the one that whispered I deserved this isolation. Dad found me there at dawn, his truck crunching gravel. He sat beside me, silent at first, fishing poles in hand like old times. Your mom and we talked. About everything. His voice was gruff and used to vulnerability. We should have seen it. Should have said we love you, no strings. I stared at the water, ripples from a jumping fish. You mean it? He nodded, arm heavy on my shoulder. Means you're still my boy. Means we fight this together. It wasn't absolution, but it was a start. The town shifted slowly. Some doors slammed, but others cracked open. The Gazette ran my op-ed. From the closet to the hallway. Why silence kills. Letters poured in, not all kind, but enough to remind me humanity lingered beneath the heartland's tough skin. Summer brought heat waves and revelations. Tyler cornered me at the gas station, pump clicking in the background. Heard you're queer now. Figures. No punch, just a shrug, eyes darting like he expected applause. Whatever, man. Water under the bridge. Rage boiled, but I swallowed it. It's not about you, Ty. It's about owning your shit. He walked away mumbling, but I saw the flicker. Doubt, maybe even shame. Small victories. Then, the call came. James's mom, voice tentative over crackling line. He's not great, Chris. The move. It's been hard. Asks about you. My heart seized. Can I talk to him? A pause. Then, he's at the Art Institute summer program. Here's the number. I dialed that night, fingers trembling, voicemail beeping. James, it's me. I miss you. Every damn day. Call when you're ready. Days stretched to weeks, silence a fresh wound. I threw myself into senior year prep. College apps sans the Ivies, aiming for state schools with scholarships for community leaders turned activists. Dad's campaign pivoted to inclusivity, awkward but earnest. Mom joined PFLAG, her pies now at Pride potlucks. The turning point hit like a Midwest thunderstorm. The school assembly I wasn't invited to, but crashed anyway. New president droned about fresh starts. But midway, Tyler stood. Tyler, of all people, microphone in hand. Last year, I was part of the problem. Bullied a kid, 'cause I was scared of what it said about me. Gasps rippled. That kid, James, deserved better. We all do. The room erupted, claps, jeers, chaos. I slipped out, chest tight, finding solace in the art room. That's when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Heard about Tyler. Wild. Meet at the lake. 8 p.m., J. Twilight painted the dock in golds and purples, fireflies winking like conspirators. He was there, leaner, hair longer, wearing a faded Smith's tee that tugged at memories. We stood apart at first, words tumbling awkward. The video's fallout, his mom's protectiveness, the therapy sessions where he unpacked the cuts. I hated you, he admitted, voice cracking over the water's lap. For laughing. For letting go. I know. I stepped closer, the air humming. Hated myself more. But I get it now. Love isn't easy. It's showing up, even when it costs. His eyes searched mine, stormy then clear. Does it still cost you? I took his hand, calloused from brushes. Worth every penny. The kiss was slower this time. Deeper, not frantic, but anchored, like roots digging into earth. Fireflies swirled, the lake a mirror to the sky's blush, and for the first time, I felt seen, not as the fallen prince, but as Christopher, flawed and fighting. We talked till stars pricked the velvet dark, plans for visits, his Chicago dreams, my Elmwood evolution. No promises of forever, just now. This dock, this touch, this fragile bridge over the chasm we'd carved. As he drove off, taillights fading into the corn maze roads, I whispered to the night, thank you. Consequence? It stripped me bare, but in the ruins, I found my skin, stronger, truer. And James? He was the map home. But stories like ours don't end tidy. They simmer, test, reveal. Fall semesters started with me back in the halls, not as prez, but as ally. Leading GSA meetings in the library, posters of James's oak sketch, with permission, tacked up like beacons. Tyler attended once. awkward in the folding chairs, mumbling about making amends. Progress, jagged but real. Then the bomb. Dad lost the election. Narrow margin, but the whispers, Hale's gay son, sealed it. He took it stoic, conceding with a speech on unity that echoed my op-ed. Over victory pie, irony noted, he clinked my glass. Proud of you, kid. For being brave. Mom cried happy tears, hugging me fierce. God's got a plan. And it's got rainbows. James visited for homecoming. Official now, hand in mind through the gates. Stares followed, but so did nods. Elmwood was learning, inch by grudging inch. We cheered from the bleachers, his head on my shoulder, the lynx roaring on field while ours purred quiet. Yet doubt lingered, a shadow at edges. Late-night calls turned tense, his program's intensity, my app's rejections. What if distance wins? He voiced once, voice small across static. Then we fight, I said, meaning it. Like we always have. Winter brought tests sharper than blades. A letter arrived, anonymous, typed. Knew Hale's secret all along. James was just the spark. Ask your dad about the donor lists. My blood iced. Dad. Involved how? Confrontation that night. Study reeked of scotch, his tie loose. The letter. What does it mean? He paled, sinking into leather chair. God, Chris. It's not. I covered for you. Back in spring. Pulled strings with the board, donors, old friends who owed me. Kept you in school. But someone sniffed it out. Betrayal twisted fresh, not malice, but protection laced with control. You played God with my life. To save it. He slammed fist on desk. You think I wanted this? My boy, outed, hurting. I did what fathers do. We yelled till hoarse, truths spilling. His own youth, hidden crushes on a college roommate, buried under duty. Vulnerability cracked his mayor mask, and in that raw hour, we rebuilt. Father and son, not politician and pawn. James flew in for Christmas, meeting the Hales over turkey and tension. Mom fussed with Yule logs. Dad shook his hand firm, eyes wet. Take care of him, he murmured. James nodded, squeezing my knee under table, a silent vow. New Year's, we escaped to the lake, snow-dusted dock creaking under boots. Fireworks popped distant, but our world was the shared breath, foreheads touching. Here's to consequences. He toasted with hot cocoa, steam curling like prayers. To us, I countered. Spring bloomed defiant. My acceptance to IU, his showcase at the Institute. Distance loomed, but we mapped it. Weekends, summers, calls that bridged miles. Tyler graduated with a mumbled apology at locker cleanout. I accepted, no fanfare. Forgiveness isn't fireworks. It's quiet, like thawing ground. Graduation day dawned humid, gown sticky under May sun. Valedictorian Emily spoke of embracing truths, glancing my way. Truce offered, accepted. As I crossed stage for diploma, cheers mixed with hoots. James in the crowd, green eyes proud. After, under the oak, our oak, we lingered, caps tossed like confetti. Never imagined this, I said, pulling him close. Me neither. His smile, that tilt of head. But here we are. The kiss sealed it. Public, unapologetic, cheers rippling from friends who'd evolved. Consequence, it shattered my world. But from shards, we forged something unbreakable. Love, witnessed, and won. Epilogue whispers. Years on, I'm a teacher in Elmwood, James an illustrator in Chicago, weekends ours. Dad's a consultant, Mom's a fierce advocate. Tyler, last I heard, coaching youth league, preaching kindness. We all carry scars, but they map the way forward. Human, messy, achingly real. Looking back, the real high tide of our story crashed not in scandal's roar, but in the quiet undercurrents, the ones that pull you under if you don't learn to swim. Senior year at Lincoln High wrapped me in a cocoon of half-victories. GSA swelled to 20 members, our meetings buzzing with stories that mirrored mine, raw edges sanded by shared air. I led discussions on coming-out calculus, quoting stats from GLSEN reports. 45% of queer kids feel unsafe at school, 1 in 4 attempt suicide. Numbers that haunted, because James had been that one, and I'd been the bystander turned enabler. James and I navigated long distance like pros at first, FaceTime dates with pizza slices synced, care packages of mixtapes and doodles. His voice over speakers, husky from late-night sketching, was my anchor. Miss your laugh, Hale. It's got that dumb Hoosier charm. I'd quip back, miss your chaos. Chicago's too neat without you. But cracks spiderwebbed, his program's deadlines clashing with my shifts at the diner, my therapy sessions, mandatory post-scandal. Dredging guilt he waved off with water under. One call, static-laced, he snapped. Stop martyring yourself, Chris. I chose to stay then. I choose to fight now. The fight peaked in April, dogwoods blooming pink against gray skies. I drove to Chicago for his showcase. 6 hours of podcasts and diner coffee, heart drumming like bass at a hoedown. The gallery was all exposed brick and pretension. His pieces hung like confessions. Turbulent seas with figures clinging, oaks twisted but rooted, a dock at twilight with 2 silhouettes, fireflies as stars. Critics murmured approval. His prof clapped his back. But when I found him amid the crowd, champagne flute trembling in hand, his eyes were storm clouds. They're calling it raw vulnerability, like they get it. He pulled me to a corner, voice low. But you do. You saw the cuts, Chris. The real mess. I cupped his face, thumb tracing jaw, and I stayed. Still here. The kiss was fierce, hidden behind a partition, tongues and teeth, and I love you, gasped against skin. Later, over deep dish at Giordano's, grease-slicked fingers intertwined, he confessed. Therapy's kicking up shit. The bullying, yeah, but Dad's absence too. Feels like I'm always waiting for the next shoe. We drove to Lake Michigan that night, city lights fading to endless blue-black. Waves crashed rhythmic, cold spray kissing cheeks. We walked the shore, shoes discarded, sand gritty under toes. What if we're just kids playing house? He asked, vulnerability cracking voice. I stopped, turning him to face the moon-silvered water. Then we're the best damn kids I know. Pulled him down to blanket, his, packed with forethought, and we lay there, heads together, tracing constellations. No rush, just presence. His heartbeat sinking mine, wind whispering secrets. Romance in America isn't grand gestures. It's this, grit and grace, holding on when the tide tugs. Back in Elmwood, the undercurrent stirred uglier. Dad's old donor, some oil tycoon with a grudge, leaked emails. Hale buried his kid's scandal to save face. Hypocrite. Town hall erupted. Pickets reformed outside our fence, slurs spray-painted on garage, sinners spawn. Mom barricaded with casseroles from allies, but Dad cracked. Nights pacing, scotch his crutch. I fixed it for you. He growled one evening, eyes bloodshot. And it cost me everything. Fixed. I shot back, voice rising over dinner's ruins. You controlled. Like I'm a campaign ad, not your son. He hurled his fork, clattering plate. You were drowning. That video, Tyler's dad on the board, ready to expel you. I called in favors so you could graduate, not flee like a criminal. The room spun. Favors. Not love, but leverage. And James? You think he didn't pay? Pulled from school, uprooted again. Mom intervened, hands wringing apron. Enough. We're Hales, we endure. But endurance fractured me. I ghosted James for a week. Phone dark, drowning in what-ifs. What if my family's poison taints us? What if I'm the bully in disguise, wielding silence like a weapon? He showed up unannounced, bus ticket stubbed, backpack slung, standing on my porch in pouring rain. Mom let him in, eyes soft. Dad grunted from study, door ajar. We retreated to my room, posters of forgotten bands peeling, bed creaking under weight. Talk, he demanded, towel-drying hair, green eyes fierce. Words poured. The leak, Dad's confession, my fear we'd repeat cycles. Hide, hurt, half-live. He listened, then pulled me close, rain scent clinging. We're not them. You're not the laugh in the hall. You're the guy who kissed me under stars. We didn't sleep much, talked till dawn, bodies tangled in innocent comfort, his head on chest, my fingers in hair. Morning brought coffee and clarity. Called Dad up, family therapy slotted. Progress, incremental as spring's thaw. Summer scorched, but we thrived. Road trip to Nashville, belting Carrie Underwood, his guilty pleasure. Motel stops with late-night diner fries and stargazing from truck beds. One night in the Smokies, fog-shrouded trails, we hiked to a overlook. Valleys rolling endless, fireflies mimicking stars. He sketched me there, pencil flying, capturing jawline, and that worried crease you get. I snapped a photo. Him, profile to sunset, auburn hair haloed, piece rare and radiant. You're my muse, he teased later, over Esmores. You're my everything, I replied, meaning it bone deep. Fall divided us, me at IU in Bloomington, him deep in sophomore year at SAIC. Dorms smelled of ramen and ambition, weekends blurred into trains and tailgates. But friction built, my poli-sci major clashing with his art world's freedom, calls laced with exhaustion. You sound like dad sometimes, he accused once, post-midterm meltdown. All duty, no dream. Stung, I fired back. And you're running, James. From Elmwood, from us if it gets hard. Silence stretched, a chasm. Maybe I am, he whispered. Maybe we both are. The break lasted 10 days, radio silence, mutual. I buried in books, frat parties hollow echo. Dad noticed, over tailgate barbecue. Fight for it, son. Real love's worth the bruises. He was right. I boarded the train, heart in throat, arriving at his studio apartment amid paint-splattered chaos. He opened door, wary, then melted, arms around neck. Missed you, idiot. We rebuilt slow, boundaries drawn, therapy synced via Zoom. No more martyrs, just partners, navigating. Thanksgiving brought Elmwood reunion. His mom, warmer now, toasting second chances. Tyler, home from junior college, cornered us at the bonfire. Heard you're good, man. Sorry again. Genuine, beer loosened. We clasped hands, past dissolving in flames. Winter holidays peaked in joy and jolt. Proposal? No. Too young, too raw. But under the lake's frozen sheen, skating clumsy, he slipped a keychain, tiny oak charm. For when you're here, or I'm there. New Year's resolution, presence over perfection. Sophomore year tested steel. My internship at a Bloomington nonprofit, his gallery internship in NYC summer. Distance nod, but visits fortified. Central Park picnics, his hand in mine, city bustle fading to us. One evening, Brooklyn Bridge aglow, he stopped mid-stride. Chris, I want forever. Not now, but soon. Tears pricked. Me too. Back home, the undercurrent crested. Dad's health scare, stress-induced heart flutter, hospital beeps a wake-up. We rallied. James driving through night. Mom baking. Me holding Dad's hand as he rasped. Proud, kid. Of all. Recovery bonded us deeper. Family dinners now included James, stories swapped like currency. Elmwood softened further. Pride flags on Main Street. My old posters faded, but foundational. Junior year brought crossroads. My grad school apps, his rising exhibits. A fight erupted over relocation, Chicago or bust. He pushed. I countered with build together. Words weaponized, hurts hurled. We paused, apart. Me in library stacks, him in studio silence. Riley, my old center buddy now mentor, advised. Love's not territory, it's compass. I showed up at O'Hare, sign scrawled. Waves crash, but we stand. He laughed through tears, boarding pass forgotten. Resolution. Hybrid life. Me commuting for law school at Northwestern, him rooted in art. Compromise. American as apple pie. Senior showcase. His capstone. Echoes of Elmwood. Our dock. Fireflies. Figures entwined. Critics raved. I stood front row, chest bursting. Post-show, rooftop party, city lights sprawling. He pulled me aside. Ring box simple, not diamond, but silver band etched with oak leaves. Not marriage. Promise. You in? Kneeling? No. Equals, foreheads touching. All in. Years fold now. Wedding in Bloomington, small. Family, friends, Tyler best man. Toast slurred but sincere. Vows exchanged under oaks. James's, I see you. Always sealing souls. Kids? Not blood, but fostered. 2 boys, scars of their own, teaching us grace. Dad retires to fishing, mom to grandkids. Elmwood. A chapter, not chain. Visits warm, progress palpable. Consequence imagined? Exile erasure. Reality? Renaissance. Love as revolution, quiet and profound. James sketches still. I advocate in courts. Our dock a annual pilgrimage. Fireflies witnesses to enduring light. In the end, it's not the bully shove or leader's fall that defines. It's the stand after, hand in hand, against the tide. And damn, it feels like home. Decades don't erase the raw edges, but they soften them, like lake stones tumbled smooth. It's 2045 now, and Elmwood's changed. Wind farms dotting cornfields, a queer youth center where the old VFW hall stood, rainbow crosswalks on Main like veins of color in concrete. James and I were the graying couple at the diner, stealing fries, his sketchpad ever present, my briefcase swapped for hybrid drives between courtrooms and home. Our boys, Alex, 12, with James's freckles and a soccer cleat obsession, Micah, 10, my quiet intensity, building Lego empires, fill the house with chaos that heals old wounds. But rewind to the immediate afterglow, post-wedding haze of 2026. Bloomington's liberal bubble burst us into real-world rapids. My clerkship in Indianapolis courts, his freelance gigs ballooning into a studio downtown. We bought a fixer-upper on the White River, creaky floors, river views, a dock of our own that echoed Elmwoods. Nights, we'd sit there, wine in hand, debating case law versus canvas strokes. Justice is abstract, I'd say. He'd counter. Art's the truth serum. Parenting crashed in like a squall. Foster certification took months. Home studies probing our stability. Interviews dredging bullying scars. How will you handle identity questions? The social worker asked, pen poised. James squeezed my knee under table, with honesty. Like we learned. Alex came first, bruised from group home hops, eyes wary as a cornered fox. Micah followed, siblings bonded in trauma. Bedtimes were battlegrounds, nightmares of bad men. Questions like, why'd they hurt us? We'd hold them, James humming indie lullabies, me spinning tales of warrior oaks that bend but don't break. One night, Alex woke screaming, fists flailing. I pinned gentle, James' soothing whispers, safe now, bud. We're here. Dawn found us tangled on couch, boys asleep between, and I wept, for their pain, our capacity to hold it. We're enough, James murmured, kiss to temple. Work pulled taut. My caseload swelled with discrimination suits, echoes of my op-ed days. A high-profile one, school district sued for ignoring anti-gay harassment, mirrored Lincoln too close. Depositions dragged ghosts. Tyler, now a dad coaching Pee-wee, testified halting, I was wrong. Kids pay if we don't change. Verdict won, but victory soured. Headlines screamed, Hail Legacy Lives, dragging dad's name, now frail in retirement. James's art surged, gallery in Soho, commissions from Netflix for set designs. But Spotlight bred shadows. A jealous rival leaked old emails, twisting our early fights into toxic drama. Blogs buzzed, queer icons cracks. He spiraled, studio nights till 3 a.m., canvases slashed. Confrontation brewed over Riverview breakfast, boys at school. You're hiding again, I accused, coffee bitter. Like Elmwood, like me. He hurled brush, paint splattering wall. And you're controlling. Lawyering our life, scheduling love. Words wounded deep, betrayals echo, understanding lanced. We separated rooms, air thick as fog. Therapy resumed, virtual with a queer counselor who unpacked his abandonment fears, my fixer complex. Sessions bled honesty. I fear losing you to the canvas, I admitted, like I almost did to fear. He softened, hand over mine. Then paint us in. Every stroke. Reunion ritual. Weekend getaway to Smokies, no kids, just us. Trails wound misty, overlooks vast. Atop Klingman's dome, clouds parting to blue infinity, he sketched a family portrait, us four against horizon. This is home, he said, pressing paper to chest. Back, we wove tighter. Family art nights, my courtroom stories bedtime fodder. Alex came out at 14, by, tentative over tacos. We hugged fierce. Proud, always. Micah followed, a spectrum, shrugging love's love. Their ease? Our legacy earned. Midlife milestones marked tides. Dad's passing, quiet in hospice, hand in mine. You made it right, son. Mom moved in, baking with boys, her hymns now queer anthems. Tyler's funeral, car wreck, 2035, brought unlikely closure. His widow shared letters he'd written, unsent apologies to James. He changed because of you too. James's big break, MoMA retrospective, Roots and Ripples. Opening night, New York glittering, our family in ill-fitting ties. His speech, this boy from Indiana, bullied and beloved, taught me resilience is relational. Spotlight caught tears, mine his, boy's proud grins. After party, rooftop under stars, he pulled me to edge. Never imagined, he echoed our dock days. Best surprise, I replied, ring glinting. Vows renewed yearly, simple bands etched deeper. Empty nest loomed gentle. Alex to Stanford Engineering, Micah to RISD Art. Drop-offs teary, house echoing. We traveled, Amalfi Cliffs, Tokyo Neon, rediscovering youth. One Kyoto garden, cherry blossoms drifting. He sketched koi ponds, me reading haiku. Still my muse, I teased. Always, he grinned, pulling close. Kiss soft, timeless. Now, Elmwood visits, center named Hail James Haven. Our speeches drawing crowds. Tyler's Field bears a plaque, kindness kicks. Mom, 80-something firebrand, leads tours. Last summer, Lake Dock pilgrimage, fireflies faithful, water lapping wise. Boys joined via video, Liv's blooming. Alex's wedding, Micah's exhibit. We sat, hands laced, James's head on shoulder. Consequence, he mused. I smiled. The unimaginable gift. In America's heartland sprawl, where bullies fade and loves endure, we stand, roots deep, branches wide. Not perfect, but profoundly us. And that's the story's truest hook. From shove to shore, we found our way home.